Now we're going to do limited reactants if you have a mass. So on slide 44, they give you a problem. And in the problem, they have two aluminums plus three chlorine gas yield aluminum chloride. Okay. So from this, they ask you to assume 4.0 grams of aluminum is mixed with 0.60 grams of chlorine. Okay. So they ask, what is, for A, what is a limited reactant? Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to have to start, you could do the same thing as before. You could pick one to start with, but it's going to be different because of the mole. You just pick one to start with. With this one, you have to do both of them because you have to convert both of them to moles. Then you would do pick one to figure out what the limited reagent is. So for the first one, you start off with the grams. So the first one for aluminum, they have 4.0 grams of aluminum. And then if you convert that to moles, you have to look on your periodic table for the value for aluminum, which they have is 26.98 on my periodic table. So you have 26.98. Make some more room for that. Okay, and then you're gonna put 1 mole of aluminum right here. Okay, when you multiply the top 4.0 times 1 and divide it by 26.9, you should get what is on the slide, 0.148 mole aluminum. Then they did the other one, whereas you had 0.6 grams of the chlorine, and you had to convert that from grams of chlorine to 1 mole of chlorine. When you look on your periodic table, you'll see that chlorine is 35.45. But since you have 2, you got to multiply it by 2. So therefore, when they multiplied it by 2, that's how they got that value of 70.90. So that equals 70.90, and that's how they got that down there. Okay. So when they multiply the top divided by the bottom, they had got the value of 0.0085 a mole CO2. Okay. Now, so from there, you're going to have to figure out which one is your limited reactant, because you have both of them in moles, like they did before. And you could probably skip the second step, but they want you to do that because when they gave you the mole problems, they had both of the moles there. Okay, but if you want to get fancy, you're clever, you all can do your own thing. But so on, they decided to pick the first one like we always do when we're given both the moles. So when we pick the first one, you have 0.148 mole of aluminum. And then you do the mole ratio. Whereas your mole ratio is, for aluminum, you got 2. And for your chlorine, your mole ratio is 3. Okay, so when you multiply the top and divide it by the bottom, you should get what is on the slide. They got 2 mole of the CO2. So this is your calculator. we can always write down our calculated. So this is our calculated. And this right here is going to be our real, our actual, the value we have right here. So that we're going to, since this is went to chlorine, you're going to write your calculated down first. And remember, just always write calculated first so you won't get confused. And then write your actual. Hope you see it's an 8.5, and that's actual. Okay, so when you look at that, you will see that this is greater. Your calculated is greater than your actual. So when you look up here, if your calculated is greater than your actual, the actual is the limited reagent. So Cl2 is your limited reactant. I keep saying reagent. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, Cl2 reactant.